What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Night Live. I am your host, Yakinwithsarah, and I am going to let this fella right here introduce himself. Go ahead.
I am Panfish, or Panfish Bill, or Billy. I run the Panfish YouTube channel. People call me by either Panfish Bill, Panfish, Billy. Local friends call me by my last name. I'm happy with anything other than late for dinner. But yeah, I run the Panfish channel.
See, Brooks Pierce, how you doing? Virginia Fisherman, Johnny, Josh, how's everybody doing? Everybody is saying hello. Tell everybody a little bit about your channel as we're getting warmed up here.
I just like to fish. I consider my channel a little bit of entertainment and a little bit of educational. I chase after every fish, although I do like catching catfish the most. It's just one of my favorite fishes to chase, like flathead catfish. As you can see, like on my wall here, I've been following the Tennessee Angler Recognition Program, trying to get up the Master Angler list. I'm up to Master Angler Level 2. First level is 5 trophy fish. Second level is 5 different trophy fish. And I do like catching panfish too, catching bluegill and stuff. But catfish is my favorite fish, but I will chase anything.
Why name your channel Panfish? How about that?
I don't know. I was just trying to think of a good name for my channel, and I came up with the name Panfish. I also got the URL panfish.net, so I can easily tell people when I'm out and about my channel. It's easier to go to panfish.net than it is to go to like youtube.com/abxzf15 or whatever. So it's a lot easier to tell people about the channel, and it's just I've always been good at catching tiny fish. So, but I mean, it's been changing. I've caught some pretty big fish.
Yeah.
So.
Let me go back to chat and make sure I'm greeting everybody. Jimmy, Bait to Ben, Ryan, Norris, Adam, Jim, how you doing? Sarah, do we have that here in South Carolina? You know, I'm not sure if we have that, what you were talking about, the, what did you just say, how you're on the second level of catching, explain that a little bit more about, yes, all of that.
Yes. So I started off with catching blue catfish. Trophy size blue cat is 36 inches, I think it is. And I caught 5 trophy blue cats. This is one of them right here. When you catch 5 trophy fish in Tennessee, and every time you catch one, you have to take a picture of it and send that picture to TWRA with $5, and they will send a certificate back. If you do 5 of them, you get a patch and a little Master Angler award for Master Angler Level 1. And then the second level is 5 different fish with previous fish counting. So, I got a trophy blue cat, trophy muskie. This was actually a once-in-a-lifetime muskie. This was a 52-inch muskie.
Wow.
Some people spend their entire lives to catch one.
Yeah.
Flathead catfish. Drum. This was an accidental catch when I was fishing with Ty, a buddy of mine who's also a guide. And he caught one. He's never caught a trophy drum, and then I caught a trophy drum. So we both got certificates.
That's awesome.
And then striped bass. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for level 2, and you get a patch and a certificate. Level 3, it's the same thing. You get another patch, you get a certificate, but you also get like a Bass Pro Shops gift pack.
Okay.
And I have not made it. I've been trying to catch other fish. I went after, been going after bluegill and red ear. Red ear is like 10 inches, and I caught a 9-incher. Went after crappie. Crappie's 14 inches. I caught a 13-incher. So I've yet to keep going up the ladder, but I'm going to keep trying.
Yeah. Where can folks go that live in Tennessee to see what a trophy size is?
It's the Tennessee website. It's the I have to look it up real quick. TWRA's website. I mean, I just do a search. If you do a search in Google for Tennessee Angler Recognition Program, it'll be one of the first links on there.
Gotcha.
I'll see if I can put it in chat.
Ryan asked, why do they call you Panfish? I think that's just from his YouTube name.
It's from my YouTube name. I'm really good at catching fish that I don't go for, except for I'm good at catching like bluegill and the smaller fish, the panfish. So that's kind of where that came from. If I go fishing for bass, I don't catch bass. If I go fishing for, it took me months and months to catch my first muskie. So it's kind of a difficulty thing. Recognition program. I don't know if I can put this in your chat.
I'll approve it once it's in there if it'll go through.
It didn't go through.
Okay.
So yeah.
After all this is done, I'll put it in the description below.
Okay.
What's the most memorable catch that you've ever had? This is from Josh Green Adventures.
I actually caught a bass on a bear hook. It was the craziest thing. I was probably 14, 15 years old. I was at one of our local parks, and I was fishing for bluegill. And I reeled in, no bait. And for whatever reason, I pulled a teenager moment, a parrot moment, what you call it. And I just threw it back out there because I was not happy that I didn't have it on the hook. And when I reeled in, a big, like 2 or 3 pound bass grabbed the bear hook. And it was surprising. I still have my reel that I caught it on. It's like an old little bitty Zebco spinning reel. And I kept that reel all these years just because of that crazy incident of catching, what I thought was a big bass on a bear hook when I was actually fishing for bluegill. It was crazy happening.
Yeah, it's definitely one I've never done. I've heard of people doing it, and I've heard of people catching other fish like shad and stuff, especially by a dam or things like that. When the water's running, throw a bear hook in there, they'll hold on to it. But I've never had any luck doing that.
Yeah.
Let's see. You guys send the same question at CatCon. Make sure I'm not missing anything in the chat. What's your favorite rod and reel for bass fishing?
I really don't have one. When it comes to bass fishing, when I buy bass gear, I end up like selling it months later. I've used Abu Garcia Black Maxes, Pro Max. What was that? I had an expensive reel. I don't remember what it was. And then I got rid of that. Right now, I've actually recently purchased a Okuma Seamar combo, just the cheap baitcaster combo. I've been using that, trying to catch a bass on that, and have failed to do so. I've been throwing. Actually, I did catch one bass when I was testing it out. I caught a little bass. I put it on my Instagram, but it wasn't on video. I was just testing it out, seeing if I can actually cast 17-pound fluorocarbon on a baitcaster, on a small baitcaster, because I'm used to the big ones. Yeah. I love the big ones, like the big Akuma, like the Komodo 450, the 350. I've got the Citrix 350s, casting those larger baits. That's how I caught the muskie, was on my Citrix 350 with a big bait that was like that big. Wow. But yeah, bass gear. I've been building it up though. I've got a little Plano box of bass gear now. Has a couple of whopper ploppers in it. I've been getting more and more. What are those things called? Oh, shows how much of a bass fisherman I am. Chatterbaits. Yeah. My biggest bass actually came off of a chatterbait. I rigged it for muskie. I made a really, really big bait. and caught a monster bass on it. We didn't weigh it. I forgot to weigh it, but I know it was my biggest bass. It was less than 5 pounds, but you know, instead of a muskie, I caught a bass with it, which was kind of fun, kind of funny, but it is what it is.
The Wyatt Life wants to know, Bill, where do you get your method leads? And
method leads?
Yes.
I got them off. Where did I get them? I think I bought them off Amazon. I think. I don't know. I only bought 2, and now I have 1.
And he wants to know, can you give an explanation of them?
Method leads are, you know, this one I made myself, bank sinker. And a method lead is just more of a flat sinker, and it has ridges in it. So you can take, you know, you take bread, corn, honey mix to where it's all mushy. You mush it on there, and then the line is actually going through the method lead to what's called the hair rig. It's just a little bitty carp hook where you can put like has a little extra line on it where you would put fake corn, and then you take that hook and then you bury it on top of it. And then you just cast that all out, and then a carp will come up, and he'll be munching on whatever's left on the method lead, and then he'll suck up the hook and get hooked. And my cat has joined us on the live stream. Yeah, she loves to say hi to everybody. She figured she'd jump up a little bit earlier. She's been kind of wild, but... Yeah, anyway, yeah, they're just kind of a European carp method thing. Luke from Catfish and Carp has a lot of things about method leads. And, you know, over here they're kind of expensive, but as time goes on, maybe we'll get more and more over here. If I do anything else, I'm going to do what Luke with Catfish and Carp does and use drywall screws. And not the actual screw. There's the anchor, the drywall anchor. Yeah. You can take that and use that as like a method lead with just a regular lead. Well, not a lead like this, one that you can put the line through the middle.
Dieter wants to know, has your channel been steady, or has there been spurts of massive growth?
It's spurts. Last year I had, you know, it's just the way YouTube is. It's a fickle beast is what YouTube is. I get times where I get a lot of subscribers, and then times when I don't. So it just depends on discovery. People, if I actually get a good video out, or people liking some of my older videos, you know, it takes time. Growth takes time. Over the winter time, my channel kind of crashed, but you know, that happens. It happened the winter beforehand. One of my buddies, Mark Hood from Louisiana, M Hood Fishing, has a channel, and he's been doing YouTube longer than me, and he said it's the same thing. You get more people watching in the summer and then less in the wintertime. And I think it's just a change. Like wintertime, people go for hunting, and my cat, come on, what are you doing? And then, you know, summertime, people are looking up fishing more often. But it could go, it comes and goes. But you know, I don't let that distract me. I want to make sure I'm publishing a video at least once a week. I've been doing real good at doing 2 videos a week lately. I don't know how long that's going to last, but I've got 2 weeks worth of videos ready to rock and roll now. So I'm going to keep doing 2 videos a week until I can't. I'm just going to make sure, at minimum, I do 1 video a week.
You just had a video that got some pretty good numbers on it.
Yeah. My second video to hit 100,000 views. I've got 2 videos at 100,000 views. The first one was catching like a 25-pounder. It was actually one of the 5 certificate fish, and it literally almost pulled in my whole cooler into the water. Had to run and grab it before it went out. It hit like a truck. It was in the fall too. When blues in the fall, when they hit the line, they can hammer that line pretty hard.
Yeah.
The second video was me failing at surf casting. I've been trying to learn how to surf cast properly and not doing too well with my technique, and broke the line and sent the sinker across the water. Didn't catch anything on that video, but I was with a buddy, Clinton, who's also a subscriber, and She'll probably jump up 100 more times. But yeah, we were just fishing there, trying to catch a fish at the park, and didn't get anything. It hit a little bit late. I'm hoping nobody was at the park on June 24th, because I mentioned in the video that I was going to have a gathering at June 24th, but that happened the previous year.
Yeah.
It's usually when you're a smaller YouTuber like us, you get a video, might take a year for that video to get popular.
Exactly.
It's not, I wouldn't call it viral. Viral is like 1 million views. Yeah. Popular is like
steady growth.
Yeah, 60, 70,000 views in a month.
Yeah. Lena asked me if I got my lights. Yes, I got the lights for the Trash Collectors Tournament in today, and there will be a post about that on the Facebook page after the show. Today's my daughter's birthday, and so it's been very busy at the house.
I see Dieter asked, what do I think that made the videos hit 100K? I'm not 100% sure. I know I used a little bit of fancy wording on the cooler one, my first 100,000 view video. I called it citation blue or something. I used the word citation in it, which is one of those words people like to look up for police citations, but also citation means certificate.
Yeah.
So it can have a positive wording to it. So it's just kind of borderline clickbaity, but I don't go over to the clickbait. Like Tuesday's video, I totally could have been like, I almost killed a famous YouTuber, because me and Realistic Fishing went fishing together this last Thursday, and both places we went to, the water started coming up and up and up and up on us, and could have swept Realistic Fishing and me away, but it wasn't that bad. But clickbait would be saying, I almost killed Realistic Fishing. So,
speaking of Uncle Realistic, he is in the chat right now.
He is?
Yes, he is. And in case you guys missed...
I don't try to do that type of clickbait. I try to make, fun wording, I call it. Try to make it relevant to the video, even if it could have other meanings of the word.
Yeah.
And I don't do that with all the videos. If I'm doing just a fishing video and I go fishing and nothing happens really, then I'll just name it a normal one. I've got a marinated cut bait video coming up in the future. But every time I do a collaboration and fish with someone, whether it's Joe from Chat Cats Fishing, Realistic Fishing, something happens and it's awesome. We always have a lot of fun when we fish together.
Well, I've only done one collaboration fishing really, and that was with Dieter. And I caught that 32-pound blue on the week that he said we weren't going to catch any fish.
Yeah.
Also, Realistic has a super lit video that just came out today, and a super lit giveaway. I hope I'm using that phrase right. Going on with that video, so you guys should go check that out. Let's see. Good thumbnails, viewer retention, and good SEO help a bunch. It's helped me gain almost 70 new subscribers this month from Whisker Sticks. Alright. Okay. A link to his channel. Not sure who you're talking about, but Panfish's channel is in the description below. And I'm going to keep going.
You can go to panfish.net. Panfish.net goes directly to my YouTube channel. In fact, it's the thing where the subscribe button pops up. So if you go to panfish.net, my channel main page pops up and a little thing that says subscribe here or whatever. I also typed in chat just now that I am right here too, because I am in chat watching the chat too a little bit.
So what are some safety tips that you have for your fishing areas? But first, before you answer that, what fishing or lakes or rivers do you fish at?
Fort Loudon, Milton Hill, Watts Bar. I go down to Chickamauga, and then Nickajack. I haven't actually Well, I fished upper Nickajack. That's when I'm fishing with Joe. He's usually upper Nickajack and then upper Guntersville. But my main area around here is I've got Melton Hill Lake literally in my backyard. It's one of the best musky lakes around in East Tennessee. And then Fort Loudon isn't that far away. And then Watts Bar is a little bit further away. I got to go down the interstate about 30 minutes to get to Watts Bar. Watts Bar is a great catfish lake. Fort Loudon was. It's kind of iffy right now. They've started commercial fishing over the past few years, and the quality of the catfish have gone downhill because of the commercial fishing. And they're not supposed to be harvesting catfish, but they've been caught and fined with the harvesting catfish, but they're only supposed to be going for buffalo. And, you know, people call that Lake Fort nasty, and I don't know why they allow any kind of commercial fishing in it. There's a bad mercury contamination at the upper part of it where the French Broad hits the Holston River. French Broad River becomes Tennessee River right at downtown Knoxville, and right in that area is a major mercury contamination, and that basically flows right into Fort Loudon. And that's not counting PCPs and everything else, because they find everything in that lake. It's a pretty bad lake.
Sounds very similar to Lake Hartwell, where I'm at. So safety tips for your fishing your areas.
Safety tips?
Safety tips.
Don't kayak on Fort Loudon during the weekend. In fact, don't kayak at most of them. I went to Watts Bar. I took my kayak out there, and I was like, okay, we're going to do some night fishing at my spot. I'm 100% sure I'll catch a nice flathead there. I caught a 30-pound blue when I was with Catfish Dave there. And now it's 5 foot underwater because all the rivers and lakes are at summer level. So we'll take the kayak out there, fish that nice gravel bottom with wood all around it. It's got to be a killer flathead spot. But right before it got dark, 5, not 1, not 2, but 5 giant pleasure boaters went by and literally almost swamped me in my kayak. I took several 5-foot waves over the bow, and I was with my buddy Clinton, and we both had to turn our kayaks right at these waves, ride them out. Then I was like, we're going elsewhere. So we went to a backwater, and that ended up becoming that snake that boarded my kayak. The snake boards, or snake on a kayak video. Had that snake come on and eat my last bluegill.
That was definitely an interesting video. I don't think I would have kept my cool as much as you did.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it was a dangerous snake. I kind of know what pit vipers look like, but it's just the best thing to do if something like that happens is stay calm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kayak do you fish from?
I currently was fishing off of Jackson Liska, but I may be switching to something else, but I'm not 100% sure yet.
Okay. Well, what are you looking at as far as what does a kayak need to have?
Well, for fishing stability, I'm a bigger guy, and I might as well tell this funny story. And the first time I met Kayak Catfish, Justin, he was uploading videos to YouTube just kind of to show big fish. He wasn't trying to be a YouTuber or anything like that. And I discovered him, and I was like, this is a local guy. He's got some good videos. Let's go fishing. We go fishing, and I have a Tarpon 100. And I'm 100% positive that Justin wanted a big fish to hit my rod while I was in the middle of the Tennessee River on a Tarpon 100. And if that would have happened, I probably would have went swimming. So you need to have stability, and just based on you, if you weigh 150 pounds, you could stand up on a Tarpon 100 and fish all day long. But if you're like me, you need a bigger kayak. The Jackson Liska is perfectly stable. Bonafide's new kayak. Jackson Big Rig, bigger kayaks for more stability with fishing. And if you were going for bigger fish, you need that. And I mean, like New Canoe. I had a New Canoe Frontier 12, and I loved it. That's the New Canoe Frontier 12 was the only kayak that I can stand in and fish with confidence. I think I could set the hook on a fish like Mike Iaconelli on a Frontier 12, but it's the only one that I think I could. I've stood up on a Bonafide, and the Bonafide isn't as stable as a Frontier 12. So,
do you go out on the demo days for your local areas?
Yeah. I even uploaded a video where I did the New Canoe Flint, the Bonafide, and then there was the Wahoo, and I demoed the three of them. I was kind of on camera. There was a guy who was on the Flint who almost lost it right at the ramp. He almost flipped it in cold water because it was still, the water was still in the 50s and 60s when we were demoing it.
Yeah.
The Bonafide is a stable but bargey like kayak, which, I mean, the Frontier 12 is too. It's a giant barge too. The reason I got rid of the Frontier 12, I had a trolling motor on it, and that trolling motor was driving me nuts. If I had a paddle, I probably would still have the Frontier 12 right now, among other things. There was other things going on too at that time frame that I will not talk about.
Okay. For me, weight is a big thing for me. The size of the kayak, since I have to load it on top of my car. Another thing, the stability, and just the layout of the kayak. I don't like anything that's got, I like a very basic layout, kind of, just a very, kind of like a tracker boat layout, you know, everything's just basic. You can add whatever you want to it. But I ended up going with a feel-free because of several reasons, but it's a very stable kayak. I like it a lot. Go to the next question. Dieter had a question. Something about, can you make Catfish Dave laugh or giggle?
I don't know. I tried to get Catfish Dave to come on this live stream and watch it. I don't know if he's here or not, because I'm trying to teach him a little bit of the ropes for it. Hey, what are you attacking now for? Okay, I'm going to put you on the floor. Yeah, my cat has a lot of mood swings. I don't know. We've fished a few times. He's I don't know. He's an avid bank fisherman. Definitely an avid bank fisherman. That's the best way I can describe Catfish Dave. But I don't know if I may have gotten him to smile. I don't know. I don't remember. I might have to try to or something in the future if I go when I go fishing with him again.
Speaking of bank fishing, what are your best recommendations for those out there that are strictly bank fishermen? They do not have a way to get out on the water.
Patience. You need to have a lot of patience if you're on the bank, because you have to wait for the fish. Unless you're going for bass or stuff like that. If you're catfishing, you have to have patience. You need to find that spot where there's a bottleneck, so you can throw out there where the fish will pass by and grab your bait. And sometimes that can take a while. Now, if you're a bass fisherman, then buy a Honda Civic. Have a really high mileage, miles per gallon car, because you can bass fish. And then you don't catch anything, you need to drive to that next spot and then bass fish and continue on. I've actually got a buddy, Thomas. He has a boat, but he likes to bank fish a lot. And when he bank fishes, he goes to 20 different spots. And he just, he's casting, trying to catch bass from the bank everywhere. Mm-hmm. So, if you're catfishing, patience. If you are bass fishing, even bluegill or crappie or whatever, stay on the move. Just think like even in a boat, you want to move around every little bit. If you're catfishing and you don't have anything within an hour or 2 hours, think about moving. If you can move, if you can pick up your stuff quick and move. For me, sometimes that can be hard, depending on where I've put my stuff. If I've had to walk like a mile to go fishing for catfish, well, I'm going to stay there probably all night.
Yeah. Josh wants to know if we use fish finders on our kayaks. I'll let you go first.
I have a fish finder. I had one on the Frontier, and it worked pretty good. I don't have one, or I have one now. I have not installed it yet. I've been just kind of procrastinating, and I've got everything I need to install it. I haven't installed it yet. I'm just a Lowrance Hook 4X, the DSI and Chirp. The Chirp version of Sonar shows a clearer picture, and then DSI is for structure, down imaging. It helps you find the structure. Like on down imaging of a fish is going to be a little bitty dot, and then you might see the actual tree that it's at. On the Chirp, you see just blurry tree and then an clear arch for a fish. So if anything, I recommend trying to, every manufacturer calls it different things, but down imaging and Chirp, you can get in a unit that's like less than $300.
Okay. I don't use one yet. I'm working on getting one. As of right now, all I'm using is Navionics to kind of just map everything out for me. I keep that on my phone all the time. I've heard you mention Navionics before too.
Yeah, I used to absolutely love Navionics because it showed you everything.
Yeah.
Until I saw a hummingbird map, and then I realized that this channel that I can see on the actual radar where it drops down and goes back up. It's a dedicated creek channel that's in the water that would be perfect for catfishing. Did not exist on Navionics. I had my Navionics up and it was nothing. But on the hummingbird maps, you saw it on FishSmart. I've got FishSmart on my phone.
Yeah.
And in real life with sonar. And I was like, I couldn't believe it that Navionics had something so, it was right there in front of my face, but not on Navionics.
Yeah.
So yeah, I used to like it, but after that, maybe it's on there now. If I update my Navionics, that creek channel might be there, but don't know.
Interesting. Dieter wants to know, how far do you have to travel to hit a body of water?
Half a mile. My favorite culvert that I've had several videos on is just like within walking distance of my house. I could just literally walk down the road and go fishing if I wanted to, but for Mountain Hill, I don't know, it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes away. It's not that far. In fact, my trophy channel catfish spot that is not producing trophy catfish is like 10 minutes away.
Realistic fishing, that depends on how big the doghouse is. How far away were those cat bobbers? Wish I did. Monster Rod Holders is looking to cater to some kayak fishermen. Can anyone tell me how to base it? Oh, Steve, I was actually going to ask you about that this week. I'm going to shoot you a message after this because I know my kayak has very specific tracks on it. Feel Free has their own specific track, and I was looking into getting one or two of your rod holders for it. So I'm definitely going to be reaching out to you this week. I don't know about you,
I got
Bill.
videos on that too.
Yeah.
I've actually made bases. I used the Driftmaster. I could have used Monster Rod Holder, but I used the Driftmaster, and the tracks. When you the kayaks, most of them are all the same. The track is a 1/4-20 screw that's on a flat piece, and then you have something that screws down on top of it. Yeah. So I drilled a 1/4-20 hole in it on the two sides and put that track piece through it, and then put it in there, and then just used actual small nuts to put it down, and then you can put the actual rod holder in there. But it's most every track, like the Yak Attack track bolts that usually come with the, you can't use the black cap that comes with it that screws down because it's too big to work with an actual base that goes to a monster rod holder or anything else. But you can take a 1/4 nut onto that after you've drilled the hole out bigger, and then put it in the track with 2 of them, and then it holds on the track.
I wonder if that would work with mine, with mine being the uni-track.
Now, there is a small problem, though. Like, if you're looking at plastic tracks, it actually wobbles. The rod holder wobbles a little bit. And even if you're using other brands, they do wobble a little bit when you're in a plastic track. But if the kayak has an aluminum track, it's on there solid.
Yeah.
And I like using them better because they're just, I like using the wire ones. Just, I don't know, they're lighter.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and just the way they are. The others, like Scotty rod holders or Stealth, they've got hard plastic parts, which that can hurt actual rod handles.
Yeah. That, and a lot of them get in the way. Or that, or the base of your rod is hanging in the wrong direction, or your reel is hanging in the wrong direction, because most of those are made so that you can't put the reel one way or the other. It's got to be this one way. Who was it? I think it was DIY Kayak DIY, something like that. Did a video on that a couple weeks ago.
Steve is asking if tracks are standard. Yeah, most of them are. I mean, you can take the Yak Attack or whatever. I can't remember what they're called, but they're the screw bases or whatever, and put them in almost any track out there. I don't think there's a problem in any track. But they do some are a little bit wider, some of them are a little bit smaller, but most of them are interchangeable.
Yeah, like you said, almost all of the tracks and almost all the kayaks are the same, with the exception of the Feel Free. They've got their own unitrack type thing, and makes it a little bit.
I've never looked at the Feel Free.
It makes it a little bit inconvenient, but it's a really good track. Let's see. Sarah, we logged 20 pounds of trash today. That is awesome. I'm going to keep this scrolling. I'm going to talk about that for just a second. So, Trash Off Fish On tournament on the Drop Hook Fishing app, since someone brought it up, has been live for 1 week. Someone said they logged 20 pounds today, so that brings the total up to 185 pounds collected this week alone of trash, plus 6 bags that were not weighed. So that's pretty big. A lot of people are stepping up. There's one guy, he's in first place right now, Jeremy, who has collected probably 100 pounds of that, and he's going out every single day and picking up trash in Kansas. So that's super cool. If anybody is interested in joining on the tournament, all you have to do is go to the Drop Hook Fishing app, click on the Trash Off Fish On tournament, go out, pick up trash around a body of water, take the picture of the trash with the body of water behind you, and enter it into the app. Easy as that. There's over $1,000 worth of prizes, so that's a lot of prizes. But that's awesome. Also, speaking of the Wyatt Life, as of right now, the Wyatt Life is the only person to send in a catch of the week. So you guys have until tomorrow to send me in a picture of catch of the week. There's no fish too small, no wrong species. I just want to see you getting out there and catching fish. I am going to put up his picture right now. I didn't do a video for this live stream because there was only one in it. So I'm going to throw up his video right here. This is from the Wyatt Life. This is Ryder catching a bullfrog. His link is in the description below if you want to check out their channel. It is super cool. They've got a brand new baby boy in their family, and they're big contributors to the Trash Collector Tournament. So that's awesome. Congrats, Ryder. Get Bill back up in here. There we go. Alright. Let's see. Get back with the chat. But yeah, if anybody's interested in joining the Trash Collectors Tournament, we're on Facebook and we are on the app. If you're wanting to compete, there's a lot of prizes. Yakinwithsarah@gmail.com. That is the link. Who's leading the Trash Collection Tournament? That would be Jeremy. Alright. Back to fishing. What's your favorite species to catch, Bill?
It would be flathead catfish. I've spent more time trying to catch flathead catfish than anything else.
Why?
They can be hard to catch sometimes, hard to target directly.
Why are they so hard to target for those bass fishermen out there?
Well, from what I've read and heard and rumors or whatever, flathead catfish, sometimes they only eat once a week. So you have to catch them when they're hungry. And if they're not hungry, then you have to go to them and put whatever the bait is right in front of their face. Like Denny with Float Fish Adventures. You see him when he's on his kayak. He's in brambles. And he's taking, I mean, he showed, I think it was on on Instagram, either on Instagram or Facebook, where he climbed out of his kayak, was on the wood and down in the water trying to get to the flatheads, trying to get them to bite. So if you're not like in the brambles where they are with a bait, then you have to catch them when they're actually hungry and active, which means most of the time, nighttime, they leave their little resting place in the daytime and come to the shallow flats hunting for food. Now, where me and Thai fish in Upper Guntersville doesn't really match that, though. Well, actually, it does. I mean, sometimes they just don't bite at all. I went there with Thai. I was with Thai and Billy, one of Thai's friends, and we were wanting to catch flatheads, and all we did was catch blues the whole time. We caught one little bitty flathead and a whole bunch of blues. So sometimes they just turn off completely, all of them, and you only catch blue cats. So they're a little bit more difficult to catch than most of the other catfish out there.
Very cool. What are your PBs for?
Currently, right now, is a 46-pound blue that I caught with Joe this year. That was actually kind of a funny catch. We were about to leave. The fishing wasn't really that good. We were blaming the spawn, and then suddenly this 46-pounder decided to eat the bait, and we reeled him in, and I caught a 46-pounder. It was 1 pound over my previous personal best, which was with Thai below Watts Bar Dam. Currently my best flathead is 30 pounds. That was last year with Thai in Upper Guntersville. And then currently my biggest fish that I have on record, if Randy's scale was correct, was a 58-pound grass carp. Trying to jump onto the table. Come on. It was a 58-pound grass carp, almost 60-pound grass carp that I caught in a little bitty creek.
How long
did it take? I caught it on a hamburger bun that I got from McDonald's, which was kind of funny. It was my fast food carp video. But that is the biggest fish to date. My biggest shore fish. Okay, cat. Come here. What are you doing? She's wanting to get on the video again. So my biggest fish from shore is a 30-pound blue cat that I caught with Catfish Dave. And that was in Watts Bar.
The Wyatt Life wants to know, he's constantly going through all kinds of fishing footwear, boots, waders, etc. What are your favorite kind of fishing footwear?
I don't have any right now. That's funny. I just went hunting for sandals and ended up not buying any. I just bought some brand new Columbias that I have on right now. I don't even know. I'm not going to show them. I don't know if I like these or not yet. But I had Crocs on when I went fishing with Realistic Fishing, and I got a rock in it while the water was rising. And we were trying to get out of the waters, so I didn't have time to try to get it out of my foot, and it left a bruise and a cut on my foot. So I've been looking for the past few days for a good sandal to wear, and I have no idea what to get. I have no idea what to get. The one thing that I saw was Sims made a wading shoe that is like those other sandals you see. You see like the shoe sandal with all the holes in it, but they had mesh over the holes with a Vibram sole. I love Vibram soles. They last forever. My last shoes that I had Vibram soles on lasted me like six years. But they did make something like that. Sims did, but then they stopped making it. I can't find it anywhere. So I don't know. I'm right now hunting for some kind of water shoe or river sandal or wading sandal, something that I can use to be able to like wade through waterways in the summertime.
Gotcha.
I haven't asked what Realistic Fishing was wearing. He was wearing I think it looked like he was wearing something like an NRS something. I don't know. I need to ask him what he was using. He didn't have any problems with rocks or anything, but I did on those Crocs. So I don't like Crocs anymore after that. My foot still hurts.
Dirty Ore Catfishing. Bill, how good of a fisherman is Ty? I think he's the most underrated fisherman on YouTube. The dude is always putting monsters in the boat.
There's people that say, Ty is very humble. He likes to fish. I mean, he doesn't say anything that he's the best fisherman. He doesn't advertise he's the best fisherman or anything like that. But everybody before I actually fish with him, and even with me fishing with him, say that he is the best catfisherman in East Tennessee, maybe even in the eastern United States. They say he's the best. And I mean, I haven't seen anything that, says otherwise. Even when, last time we went fishing, we only caught a few small ones, but we were in the middle of the spawn and he wanted to test out area where, to see if the fish, some of the bigger ones were coming in to bite or whatever. We didn't catch any big fish, but we caught fish during the spawn. In fact, he caught all the fish. It's kind of funny. I think it's my Thursday, this coming up Thursday video. Is basically I'm bottom bouncing. We're both bottom bouncing, and he catches all the fish. I don't catch a single fish in the video other than I grabbed the rod when there was drifting. We had one drifting rod, and I reeled in that fish. But on my rod and reel, on my bouncing reel, I didn't catch anything. He caught a bunch of fish on his. In fact, we kept going over a spot. He wanted to hit this one spot, and he kept catching fish. He just like fish and ended up going over it, had to turn around, go back, go over it again, kept catching fish right before it because we saw one big fish like at a drop-off area, and we couldn't hit it because we kept catching fish before it. But he's a really, really good fisherman, and I mean, everybody says he's a lot of different people say he's like the best, so I'd love to see a tournament. I'd love to see him in a tournament, like put him against Steve Douglas and Dieter Melhorn and see who could actually win.
That would be cool.
Actual tournament. That would be kind of cool.
Speaking of Dieter, he wants to know if you'll get on the boat with him when he's in Lenore City next time. Yes, I would love to. I'd love to. There you go, Dieter. Hopefully you're not afraid of blood. So, going off script a little bit. Why did you start your YouTube channel? It's kind of funny. When I was a kid, I wanted to have a channel, or I wanted to have a fishing show like Bill Dance. And as any kid, and teenager thinks, I thought I knew everything about fishing. I thought I was the best bass fisherman there was in East Tennessee, that I knew every single fishing spot and yada, yada, yada. And it took me growing up and starting a YouTube channel to realize that I don't know anything. And YouTube and forums and people have helped me learn so much with fishing, especially with catfishing. I mean, I did a lot of bass fishing when I was younger, but as I get older, I seem to rather go after catfish instead of bass. Yeah. And I've learned so much, especially from Steve Douglas. He's the first YouTube channel that I found when I was looking up, catfishing stuff. And I was like, cool, I need to do this. This is actually a way for me to have my own channel so I can be kind of like Bill Dance. I mean, I'm not. Bill Dance has a production company and stuff behind him. Yeah. Me, I do everything myself. I edit the videos myself. I'm learning to edit and learning the tricks
getting better over time. I only have one camera. I eventually want to get a mirrorless camera so I can have, you know, that good B-roll camera someday, like what Dieter Melhorn has. He has a nice B-roll camera. And, you know, this is just my, you know, Bill Dance-like show.
Gotcha.
So,
do you have any?
I like YouTube.
Do you have any recommendations for those that are just now starting a YouTube channel?
Just stick with it. You know, try to create a schedule. At least, you know, one video a week, one video every 2 weeks. Create a schedule and start practicing meeting that schedule. That's what I did since the beginning of time. I learned that from Joe from Chat Cats Fishing. Joe was doing, you know, video I think he's been doing 2 videos a week scheduled, except for around his time when he has wrestling. When wrestling is in the springtime, he can't do it. He actually sometimes goes a month without publishing a video, but keeping a schedule is, you know, the first part of it. Learning a little bit about how to shoot videos and stuff, you know, proper placement of where the sun should be, even though I've failed on that multiple times, especially if you're on a boat. You got to, like my muskie, when I caught this muskie, I didn't get any good pictures of it because the sun was in the wrong spot. But what I had in mind was getting this muskie released as quickly as possible. I didn't want to keep it on the boat. We measured it quickly, put it in the water, and released it. And then after the fact, I realized all the video work and some, you know, the actual like pictures we took were not that great because the sun was in the wrong place. But, you know, it's just a learning process. You just got, you know, learn how your camera works. Go for cheap, you know, don't worry about, you know, getting a Sony A6500 like the Guggen Squad. I mean, I know Flair from the Guggen Squad was using an A6500 when he was here in town, and I missed him because I was in the hospital. But he uses an A6500, and that's like a $1,500 camera. You don't need that. You can get my Sony HDR AS50 is as low as $130. Yeah. And that's the camera that Catfish Dave is using, and you can see his videos look decent. They're not, you know, baller or anything. My videos aren't baller or anything, but they're good. They work. And that camera can, you know, it's not waterproof. One drop in the water, you're going to be buying another one. But you know, of the whole time that I've been on YouTube, I've yet to drop my camera in the water. Don't have any wood to knock on here to make sure I don't actually drop it on water. Here we go. This is wood. Knock on wood, I don't drop my camera in water now. But I did scratch the lens of my camera and had to buy another one. And I tried GoPros, I tried others, and ended up buying the same camera again. So, you know, you can get away probably with a camera from eBay or something too, but you know, Sony, find something that has a Sony chip in it. Sony has like the best video quality. I think the Yees have Sony chips in them.
Yeah, Dieter said you're dead on about the gear. First off, hey Ryder, how you doing? The Wyatt Life asked for us to say hey to his son Ryder. Hope you're doing well. Hope you have a good night. I always appreciate your pictures every week. Then someone asked me, Sarah, does your GoPro have a remote control? First off, I don't use a GoPro. Speaking of cheap equipment,
I use my phone as a remote control on mine.
Do you? I don't have the app on my phone. I actually just, most of the time it's right here or on my chest, and the one up front I keep rolling the whole time I'm out there, and it's just on 1080p, so it can shoot for about 4 hours with the SD card in it. And then the one on my shoulder or on my chest is this one right here. Is the Akaso V50. I think this one's about $100, and it does 4K and 30 frames, and most of the time everybody's watching it 1080p anyways.
Yeah, so, yeah, that was another thing I was going to say is you know, don't worry about 4K. Yeah. My camera only does 1080p, and you know, 4K is I bet I can edit 4K on my computer. It's just if I do a 1080 video, I can have a video done in an hour and export it in 2 minutes. If I
Yep.
have 4K, I'm spending 4 hours editing the video and spending 2 hours exporting it.
Exactly.
And that's not including uploading it to YouTube. It's a bigger file. It takes forever to upload to YouTube. So if you keep it at 1080, keep everything at 1080, it's quick edit, quick export, quick upload.
Yep. And like you said, I use my phone a lot for actually videoing. A lot of times it does very well with 1080p footage. It does pretty good slow-mo. And just this alone, you don't have to have all the really expensive equipment. In fact, there are really bigger YouTubers out there that only use their phone. I won't go into everybody that does that, but just so all of you out there, especially those that are just now starting your channel, that you don't have to have the most expensive thing out there to get started.
Yeah, I could be using my phone. I've just got a new phone, and it's a cheap new phone, and it has stability built into it. I was surprised. It even has two lenses.
Oh yeah.
Like a depth of field thing, and I only paid like $200 for this.
Sweet. Behind the scenes, I had to edit out me asking Sarah 10 times, "Are you rolling?" Yes. Every time I was catching a fish, Dieter asked if I was rolling. I think I was only not rolling one time. I think I might have left that in mind, Dieter, at least one time. What do you do for your audio, if anything? I notice people are turning off my bad audio pretty quickly. Do you do anything for audio except for...
Not really. I try not to do anything for audio. I used to, like all my earlier videos were on the HDR AS50, I had the wind noise option turned on the entire time, and it kind of tin-canned it a little bit, but it helped with the wind noise. Now I've turned that setting off, and I use a piece of foam. I actually put a piece of foam and a rubber band around it over the mic, and it seems to be doing really good with wind and stuff. I've had wind hitting it directly, pretty hard wind, and can't hear it on the video that much anymore. So I don't do anything unless, I try to make editing as easy as possible. So unless somehow I'm like talking really loud and I'm within an inch of the thing and it ends up being really loud, I'll turn it down a little bit. But most of the time I don't do any kind of editing of my audio at all. I try not to. And the Sony is really good at picking up the audio. It sounds like I have an actual professional mic on there, like having a mirrorless with a mic, which is kind of crazy for such a small package.
Em and the gang said that they carry around a cotton ball, and they've used it every now and again, and it works pretty well. I might have to start just carrying that around with me in case I run into that problem. Because a lot of times that I do my videos is impromptu. I'm heading back from my parents' house or going to work or coming home from work or something like that and decide, hey, I can go fishing right now.
I've been cannibalizing my case. I mean, I have a case that I have everything in. It's a Flamburu instead of a Pelican, and it's got those foam pieces that you can pull out and make it in certain orders, and I've started like cannibalizing that for wind muffs now, pulling the foam, and then that's what I used around my mic.
That's right. That's pretty funny. All right, guys. So, any other questions before we start wrapping this up? We are reaching the 1 hour mark. For any of you out there that are interested in joining the Trash Collectors Tournament and you don't know how to, feel free to ask it now or just get with me later on. You can join the Facebook page as Trash Collectors Tournament on Facebook. Like I said, 185 pounds of trash collected, not including the 6 bags that weren't weighed. And there's a lot of prizes involved. I do, however, know that there are some folks out there waiting to the last day to enter in all of their bags. While that is very sneaky, that is okay to do. As long as you have the proof. Remember, you have to have those before and after pictures and the pictures of inside the bag. Any more other questions, guys, before I wrap this up? Thank you, Bill, so much for joining the show. I had a lot of fun. I think a couple of folks learned quite a bit on here tonight. Next week, I'm pretty excited about. It's not very often that I get to have another female as a co-host, and I've got Old Lady Angler on YouTube. Her channel has just started growing fairly quickly here recently. I think she's at 1,200 subscribers or so, and she is, you know, anytime I talk about her, I'm just like, you know what? I want to grow up and be just like this woman. Just if you go and check out her videos, she's just awesome. That's all I have to say for her. She's just awesome. But I'm curious if I have been doing it correctly. Actually entered. Wyatt Life. I did see 2 of your entries the other day or yesterday, and so yes, they're entered correctly. I'll check and make sure the other 20 pounds were entered today. There you go. Alright, that is it, guys. I will catch you later. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you next week, 8:30 Eastern.